Hi, everyone, and welcome back to our second ever Best Buddies read. Yay! We're coming back to you live and in Technicolor pretty quickly because OMG. Eldritch by Kerry Lake. But yes, we are here to review Eldritch by Kerry Lake, which is obviously the second in the Eating With series. I did at the end of this book immediately wish that that thing where you can like put yourself to sleep until the future.
Or like cryogenically freeze yourself.
Yeah, I wish that was a real thing, so that I didn't have to deal with the emotional torment of the next
of waiting.
Yeah, I'm waiting. But yes, that gives you some clue as to how I felt about the book. As always, guys, this is going to be absolutely jam-packed full of spoilers. So please, 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 if you have not read Eldritch yet, do not read. No, read it. Definitely read it. But
Don't
do not
listen.
listen. Yes. Thank you, Shani.
Until you've read it. And then come back.
Yes, because this lives in perpetuity. So, yes, do not carry on. Stop right here. I'm going to give you 5 seconds. 5, 4. Okay, spoilers are in. My God. I'm going to start with the first question, and I'm hopeful that I know the response, but sometimes with you, I can be surprised. Sean Winter, not your name, but name.
Close enough.
You will always be known for me. Did you enjoy Eldritch by Kerry Lake?
What would you do if I said no? Like, genuinely, what would you do? I think you'd have a breakdown.
I think I'd cry a little bit, only because I feel like you and I are like the same human being. Like, I'd be okay with it. Everyone has their opinions. Like, that's fine.
She says she'd be okay with it, but she wouldn't. I loved it.
Oh my gosh.
I did. I was very much like, I was that reader that authors both love and hate, because obviously they love the readers that love their books and want the next one. But I was also that person who was like, look, I know you've only just released this book that you put a huge amount of effort into, but can we have the next one already, please?
Yes.
I was that person. I mean, I didn't obviously message her and tell her that.
I did.
You know. Hey, Kerry Lake. I'm really sorry that you've only just released this book and you haven't even finished like promoting it yet, but I need the next one, please. Put everything down and go and write it.
Quick.
Yeah, quick. Hurry. Like, when we say 2026 release, do we mean like January the 1st or?
And I was thinking, I was like, well, January I think I could do.
Continue. It's only a couple of months away. It's fine.
Probably not later than that. So. But yeah, oh my God. I can't wait. Absolutely can't wait. But yeah, I could not have loved it more. I think I wrote in the message to her, it's 700 pages and it wasn't long enough.
That's so true.
I needed more. What actually, how many? Oh, this doesn't actually have pages. This page. Oh, it does, yeah. 746 pages.
Do you know, it didn't actually feel like it? Because normally when you get books that long, I'm watching the percentage partly in a, oh God, I'm so close to the end, I don't want it to end, but also partly in a, my God, it's taken so long to get here. But I wasn't doing that with Eldritch. I was just like, oh my God, I'm nearly at the end. What am I going to do? Yes. Nothing's resolved. We need, like, where's book 3?
Yeah. Oh, exactly the same. And I just, it's addictive in that you kind of want to keep reading. But what I did like was there are some natural breaks.
Yeah.
And I was quite appreciative of that, because there were some books where at the end of almost every single chapter, you've got like this massive kind of twist that you've
like
then got
mini cliffhanger. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, now I've got to read the next chapter. Whereas this had some pretty natural breaks, which I think is obviously the multi-POV element of it.
Yeah.
And then the kind of going back and forth.
I was going to say the past and present.
Yeah, which we'll come on to. But I really quite appreciate that in a book of this size, is that she kind of, and whether she did it knowingly or not, I don't know, but, you kind of got some natural breaks where you were like, okay, that bit has somewhat resolved. I can put it down and go to sleep now.
Put it down, have a nap.
Emotionally
do some work.
and come back to the book. So it was great. I just think I think it was paced appropriately. There was not one moment where I was like, oh God, help me, this is dragging on.
Yeah, or it's too quick.
Yeah, and I do have to say, like, I was a little bit cautious. I don't know if cautious is the right word, when she started saying she was going to go back and tell Zavanda's story, and I was like, ugh, I don't love that. I am not a huge fan of that back and forth, but just the way she did this, it didn't feel like that.
Yeah, and I think because everything she showed about Zavanda's past was so relevant to the now, it wasn't just for the sake of it. It wasn't just going back to in the past to look, this is what happened to him at some point.
Yeah.
Has no bearing on today. But it was just so, everything that happened was so relevant to who he is now and what was happening now.
Yeah.
That it fits so well.
It really did. And I think the way she weaved the current story, in particular the love story, alongside that going back, things clicked into place, but then questions were also raised, of which I want to ask you your opinion on. So
hit me. Question.
We'll come to that. But I think the first question that I had was, so there's quite a few POVs in here. There's quite a few different voices. So you've obviously got Zavanda in the current. You've got Zavanda in the past. Now I'm gonna butcher his name.
Kashmir, I think.
Kashmir,
I think. Like Kashmir. Let's just call him Kashmir.
Yeah, Kashmir. Let's call him that. You've got Mavis.
Yeah.
Or Maeve. So we were kind of.
Did we have anyone else? I think that was it, wasn't it?
That was it. I did think whether she was going to introduce Alicia as a point of view, but that sort of never happened. I think that's an interesting backstory as well, that potentially that could come more to the fore next time.
In the next book. Yeah, I think there's a few characters that we might see a bit more in the next book, because there are some that were in the last book and were in the beginning of this, but then like wandered off to do their own like side quest almost. His whole, his sister, his buddy, his aunt, that Dolian guy, Alora.
Yeah.
They are all like, they were in the beginning for like a minute. And then
I'm assuming that they're going to play a bigger role in the next one, given Mavis on the other side.
Yes.
Now alone. Well, not alone, but pretty much alone. So how did you find it? How did you find the multi-point of view play?
Actually, don't generally have an issue with multi-POV as long as it's done well. And I mean, I've read books where you've got even more POVs than that. You've got like 6 people. And as long as it's done well, it doesn't feel... What's the word I'm looking for? When it, when they do it for the sake of it. Oh, what's the word? There's a word. Anyway, that word. Huh? Yeah, forced, but also like, there's a word. It'll come to me at like 3 a.m. I'll let you know.
Thanks. I'll be awake.
Yeah. So it was done well. Obviously, we needed Maeve's POV because, she didn't do everything with Zavanda, and it was good to see like the same stuff from both sides. And then obviously Zavanda, the past had to be from Zavanda's POV because it was his past, and seeing the present from his view as well. And then Kashmir's view was good for like seeing how they ended up back in the path. I think we needed that, because if not, it would have been just a bit like, oh, how did you guys get here? Why did you get here? Like, what's going on? What happened? So I actually think it was done really well. And I think additional POVs would have possibly been overkill. So I think she found the right balance of voices to make it cohesive.
Yeah. I am just asking for a list of characters. Only because I've forgotten this guy's name.
Which one? Because I've literally written characters out in my own massive spoiler for future use.
Will come up now. Oh no, it's not going to come up. The guy who's with Kashmir and
The friend or the elf guy?
yeah, the elf guy, the green head
Dravian.
That's it. Because he was a really interesting addition to this. I feel like there's more there.
Yeah. I don't really know what to make of him. I'm in two minds about it. Either he is genuinely good and he's pretending to be aloof and a bit of a dick because he kept saving them and he didn't have to. He kept saving them. Or he's really bad. So the only reason I started to lean that way towards the end is that he very specifically wanted to go through the gate first when they reopened it. And whoever it was, like internal monologue, commented to themselves about how that was weird, but they didn't have time to think about it.
Yes.
And then obviously Maeve goes through and Revezio didn't go through. Kashmir goes through. And then all of a sudden, General Loyce and her bad guys are there to intercept. Is he really bad? And he went through quickly, sent up some sort of signal, we're here, I've got Mavis, to General Loyce. Is he bad? Is he working for her?
I didn't.
Yeah, just at that point, that's where my thoughts started going in that direction.
I think I was probably the opposite of like, I think this is someone who's been generally quite a bad guy and is now trying to like, he's trying to be good but doesn't really know how to do it. He's still got that like save myself first mentality.
Yeah.
But I think he was the one, wasn't he, that went searching for the scroll to try and get the scroll out so that he could reopen the portal and they could try and
Yeah, so that's why I was like, oh, maybe I'm just looking too far into it. But I did just have that little niggle. And as I say, it was only at that point. I didn't actually think it for the rest of the book. Just at that point, I was like, maybe.
Just to add
because
to
he
that,
was a former slave as well, wasn't he? Like,
yeah, and to add to that, maybe the reason he was so desperate to open the portal was because he's told Lois that he's going to have both of them.
yeah, maybe.
And so
he was trying to like
really after Zavander, not necessarily maybe.
I think she wanted both of them because she thinks that Maeve is obviously the key to breaking Zavander.
Yeah.
And she is, like, let's be honest. She's definitely the key.
Okay, so I have a big question for you. This gives us a lot more insight into kind of how Zavander in Anathema, there's obviously that moment where he goes to kill her and he doesn't kill her. And in Anathema, it's never fully explained as to how he knew her or why he just stopped.
Yeah.
And ran off. This obviously starts to explain that through Caligari and the fact that he kind of had met her through that and was quite impactful, I guess, in changing her fate. My question is, do you think that they would have got together and there would have been love if that had never happened? Or are they absolute victims of circumstances and of what happened to him? Change for you at all, like, their love or how you viewed it?
No, to be honest. I actually think it kind of added to it in a way, that there was an extra depth to it. Because even when he just first saw her, okay, not as a tiny child, because that was a bit creepy. Not, it wasn't creepy, but if he'd had feelings as an adult man looking at a tiny child, that would have been creepy. But even just looking at her as as she got a bit older, this woman that he didn't know, had never actually met in person, had only seen glimpses of as a child, as a teenager, he was drawn to her and that was before like he'd broken the barrier and, you know, touched her and changed fate. He was still drawn to her, and he kept wanting to go back to see her,
Mm.
to find her, to see how she'd got on and he wanted to protect her even then, like, so I think it actually just added a level of depth. I don't think it took away from it at all. And I mean, it's hard to say because they haven't even like exactly confirmed what part of fate was changed, because they don't really know what fate they did change, just that something obviously was. And like, is it the fact that Morsana chose Maeve as her vessel? Is it the fact that Deimos chose Stavander as his vessel? Is that what fate changed, or were they always marked for being vessels? I don't know.
Yeah, I think that my assumption was they were marked.
Yeah,
Well,
that's what I thought as well, but it's
either
never actually categorically stated.
no,
Um,
that's true.
so and and if that's the only thing that changed fate-wise, then that still doesn't change their feelings because they aren't inhabited by those gods currently. So they're not feeling the gods' feelings for each other. It's still a genuine, you know, bond between them. So I actually think it added a level of depth. But you?
So for me, the conflict comes in. I think Zavander fell in love with her, but again, in a way that was more of a survival instinct. Like he needed something to hold on to in like
Yeah.
all the torment and torture and stuff, and that was her. And that's fine, albeit love born out of that kind of trauma is a bit worrying. But
Yeah.
for her, I think the thing that I felt and I started to feel was that she didn't really have free will in it. And she didn't make that choice because he kept going to her and in her situation. And okay, yeah, he you know, many times kind of saved her, I guess, by being there and helping her. But
Yeah.
he also caused a bunch of it. Like he was the one that killed the girl and
With the horse cart, yeah.
yeah, and she was blamed for it and all that kind of stuff. So there's a little bit of conflict for me in that Zavander's made all the choices when it comes to their love. He's the
Yeah.
one that basically has forced her hand or her heart or whatever you want to call it. And so I started to feel a little bit like annoyed that Mavis hasn't actually had a lot of free will yet. And I
Mm.
wonder if part of this is building up to that third book where maybe she does start to pick up a bit more dominance and there was just a few things that started to annoy me then of like he would like pick her up and run off with her and like this kind of like savior complex that
Yeah. Super alpha protective mode.
yeah,
Yeah.
which is fine, except I just kept thinking like she's so in love with him that she's forgiving all this stuff as she finds it out. But then she hasn't really had a choice because he's inflicted that love on her in a weird way. Does that make sense? What I'm
Yeah. But then also, as an emotion, we don't really have free will with love. Like we don't choose who we love. So I don't, but I get your point. Like he made all the decisions that led them to this place, like that got them there. But I feel like she would have fallen for him anyway.
yeah.
I do feel that, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah. That was the one thing because I guess it was I think in the first book you saw her start to like blossom as a an entity, as a person. You start to see her find some of her powers. You started to see her get more confident, and like she kind of bit back a lot more in the first book. And then of course there was like they they fell for one another, and but then I felt like she retracted a bit and became a bit subservient in this book. So I'd love to see that kind of the dominant Mavis come back now in the next book. And
yeah, I think there's a big potential for her to just completely snap in the third book and be like, I am fucking sick of people controlling my life, and just snap, and like all her powers just boom, and she becomes this like all powerful entity of womanly rage.
yeah,
So yeah, I kind of feel that that's coming at some point in the third book. She's just going to snap because she's had enough,
yeah,
and she's going to take control.
yeah. The next question I had for you was, so the love that we see, particularly on Zavanda's side in this book, is quite intense. And there's definitely some dark elements of possession, obsession, and those sorts of things. Now, some of them you kind of go, oh, that's so cute. Like, I will follow you into all the
Yeah.
worlds and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, that's really cute. But what were your thoughts on him and that love being born out of like that deep, deep trauma that he was in when he first is kind of introduced to Maybeth in Caligari? Caligoria.
Yeah, Caligoria. I I think in a way it's a little bit toxic, in that, as you say, a love born out of such deep trauma, as in she was his life raft in very, very dark times. Like, it's an associative thing, isn't it? Like, that's not potentially true emotion. It's a learned association. But by the same token, I read a lot of books where the MMCs are like deeply, darkly obsessed with the FMCs. So it actually wasn't completely out of place.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm assuming you have a different view.
Yeah, I think the problem for me with it is that he actually doesn't know what love is supposed to look like. He associates love with pain and suffering. His father basically got him put in the mines, and it's like all his father's fault, really, how he ended up where he did.
Yeah.
Albeit, like, we find out that what he did was actually it was actually a mistake, and he feels really bad for it and all that kind of stuff. So then he has to kind of bear witness to his mother's like brutal rape and murder, and he thinks his sisters had the same fate. P.S. I freaking love Branimir. I really hope he's in the next one a lot more. Like, I
So
feel
wait, like what? Where did we end with Branimir? Like, he wasn't really in this book except for in the flashbacks. Is he
they
still in the cellar with his spiders?
they left him the castle.
Okay.
He protected the castle
Yeah. Okay. That's
when
what
they
I
left.
couldn't remember. Yeah.
And remember, they left the door open. Kashmir leaves the door open.
Oh, I don't remember.
At the very beginning, they go
Yeah.
back, and they're like, remember, he's like, well, kill me then if you want. I'm just trying to find your brother and your sister and
Yeah.
aunt and stuff. Yeah, I think just going back to like the Zavanda, I think he's a really broken and tormented soul, and he doesn't know what love is, and he associates love with pain and possession. And I think that makes me worry for Mavis. And so at the end of this book, when she's on one side and he's on the other, I was a little bit like, ooh, this is interesting, because maybe for the first time, Mavis will actually have some capacity to like think for herself, and
Make her own
he will
choices.
and he will also have to work. I mean, he's going to obviously be obsessed with getting back to her and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so yeah, it's not a very healthy relationship. Like,
Healthy foundation.
no. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, there were bits of it where you're like, "Whoa, this is like so hot," and like, "Oh,
Yeah.
this is best." And then you go, "Oh, I don't know, though." Like, oh.
Yeah, what I hated was, and not hated about the writing, hated about the situation, was that he genuinely, it's like he wouldn't even let himself try to reach climax with her without hurting himself. Like, he was reaching for a blade or pain before even getting anywhere near the end.
mm,
And like, if he'd have just trusted her to see if she could get him there herself without pain. And like, I know the piercings are enchanted and whatever, but I don't really understand that, to be honest with you. But just, he would inflict pain so early on in their sexual interactions that I'm like, but you don't know if you could have got there. Like, you don't know if you could have got there. And he
mm,
kept saying about how her touch is the only touch he craves, and her gentle touch is the only gentle touch he can like possibly endure. But he would still inflict pain on himself, like within the first couple of minutes of sex or anything sexual. And I'm like, I hated that. I hated that so much. And as I say, not about the writing, about the situation.
yeah, I didn't like that either. I have to say that was one thing that like that and the size thing, which just
10
always
piercings, what the fuck?
it's just always like, why are they always
Hi,
massive?
I've got 10 piercings. It would
I know.
have to be like your arm.
Oh, easily. Um, yeah. No, I wasn't a massive fan of that, but I'm not a fan of that kind of S&M-y type writing
Yeah.
anyway, but I
Yeah.
understood it. So again, like I got where
Got the why.
because of the way that she wrote it with the
Yeah.
backstory, like you kind of go, okay, this is all he's ever known.
Yeah.
So his body's trained for that.
Yeah. Completely what he's been conditioned to.
So next question, Shani.
Yes.
So in the first book, you're kind of introduced more so to like the powers and the kind of magical system / politics of the place.
Yeah.
This book, there's a lot more creatures and like, yeah, just other elements that you didn't get in the first book. Even other like types of people, like the elf and
Yeah.
yeah, so loads more creatures and like species and stuff. How did you find that? And what was your favorite? And can you guess mine?
Was it maybe a bird dragon?
Yeah, and there's more bird dragons.
There's more villain. There's little egg bird dragons.
And she saved the egg.
She saved the egg. Yeah. I, not so much with the creatures, but with the species, I kept getting confused because I couldn't remember what a mancer was. Not a sapling. What are they called?
Uh,
They kept referring to like the kids as not
yeah,
saplings.
it's before the power.
Yeah.
But then you find out they could have had power the whole time if they just were given Vivicantum.
Sorry, I did take notes somewhere and I don't know if I've written it
It's
down.
something like saplings.
Yeah.
It's got something to do with a tree.
What's it called? Anyway. Yeah. I did kept getting confused basically with terminology because like you said, there are so many creatures and species in this that I was like, wait, what is that? What are you? What's going on?
Really? I don't know. I didn't find it. I mean, you like we just reviewed another book, right? And I was like, I was so confused by like I don't think I can remember anyone in it anymore because I was so confused. But this I didn't find confusing. I think the way that she kind of introduces bits and bobs, it did get a little bit chaotic. in places with all the different types, particularly when they ended up in that village with the priestess and
with the priestess and the not the Corv, yeah, them.
Kidab.
No, the Corvigons,
Yeah.
whatever Mavis species is that.
Yes. But I liked the addition of all these extra things. I absolutely love the bird dragon, whose name is Ravox. And I'm excited. I loved as well that she's a rider. And
that's what the glove thing is.
Yeah. I loved that addition because now I feel like, again, she's got like additional power that we haven't yet seen.
Yeah, I reckon she'll have something with the connection with Ravox when she's riding. I reckon there'll be some power that is specific to that.
Yeah.
I loved that I loved the ending with Ravox. Because I can picture it in a movie format, you know?
Yeah.
Hanging off the edge of a cliff, bird turns up, hey.
It was the fact that he says like, hey, shithead, or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I can't remember the exact words, but yeah, it was something like that.
In the back of the book is a whole, like, what things are.
Oh, I needed a glossary.
There's a whole glossary.
I actually put that in my review. I needed a glossary of some sort.
Yeah, it's Evander, the last line in the book. Hello, shitbag. Nice of you to show up.
Shitbag. Because you can absolutely picture that in a movie, can't you?
Yeah. And also, I think their relationship throughout the whole book, like Ravox and Zavander, because if you think about it, they're both tied to her in like obviously
ultra protective. Yeah.
Ravox is obviously in a kind of bond connection way that you know he's hers, and then obviously Zavander in a rather unhealthy relationship, but. Yeah, I just loved that they had that little bit of dueling conflict where like Rick would like give him the side eye all the time and like pop things at him, like
be like, I'm watching you. I don't trust you.
Yeah. So I loved that. I loved that. You know, there were some pretty scary creatures introduced beyond
like the things that came out of the ground. The fuck, man.
That was weird. I also am really loving this whole Maveth being able to see and talk to the dead. I found that really interesting, but it was the way that Kerry Lake had written that was actually really endearing, in that it wasn't a scary thing, that the dead were coming back to help her and to guide her along the journey. And then obviously it becomes more clear why when we find out that she is kind of the goddess of death, basically. Or she's the vessel.
She's a vessel for her,
death. But not in a like horror, like deaths. The way that Kerry Lake had written it was like death's a guiding force, as opposed to like, you know, we can bring you stuff. We know what's going to happen, and so we're going to come and kind of help guide you, which I really liked, because I think you could say, oh, she's the vessel of the goddess of death, and it's like, oh god, she's going to be a bad guy, but actually,
good luck.
Yeah.
But no, they were, and like she heard it as whispers, right? So like when they were fighting those creatures that came up out of the ground, someone whispered to her, like, whip the ground.
Well,
because who would ever think to do that?
Mortasia said it to her. The voice in her head, which is
Morsana,
Morsana,
I thought it was one of the dead ghosty people, because she kept hearing whispers. And like she was woken up by whispers as well, wasn't she? Like,
yeah, the ghost girl was telling her
to run. And
hide.
Yeah.
And then it was, how do you say it? Morsana. She was the one that said, hit your whip on the ground.
Hit your whip on the ground, yeah.
There's part of me with her, like, she gives her all this advice, but right at the last minute, it's like, can't you have done that 10 minutes ago before, like, anyway.
And it's like all those times when she was like, help me. And she's being like completely quiet. But then like when her sister is like acting shady, she's like, kill her, kill your sister. And she's like, no, help me with other stuff.
But you kind of find out why when they get to
Yeah,
that.
like, I get it, but, like, she could
Yeah.
have just been more vocal about it. Kill
Yeah.
her because
Yeah. Like, give some context, love. Like,
yeah, give her a
where
reason,
have you
not
been?
just kill your sister.
Um, but yeah, I loved it. I loved that the world got a bit richer and like a bit more layered. I loved that we left Foxglove and actually saw that there's a whole world outside of that um yeah, is super interesting. So yeah, I loved the priestess, her aunt, as we find out is her.
Yeah. She's really sassy, I liked her.
Yeah, I liked her as well. There's a lot. And there is a character that I think might be the best character in all the books, and that
Mhm.
is Corwin. I am so in love with that doofus. Like,
That bumbling fool character
we must protect him with
at all
everything
costs.
we have at all costs. Never ever let anything happen to that delicious little human being. Some of the one-liners out of his mouth had me absolutely in stitches, and they were always in, like, some of the most, like, inappropriate times,
Yeah. Yeah, like squeaky bum times, like, it's all going to shit.
and then he would just say something, and I was like, "That's what" do you know what I actually thought? And don't take any offense. I was like, "That's what Sean would be doing in that situation."
Probably.
Those are the comments that Sean would be making in that situation, 100%.
Probably a good chance.
I loved him. I thought when originally he got introduced, I was like, not another person, like this is too much, but he
Yeah.
was actually some beautiful light relief. Oh, this one was funny. Shouldn't we prepare somehow? Perhaps have a goat ready in case he's hungry? Do you remember when Mavis was pulling
Yeah, the bird, yeah.
he was like, should we bring some food? He's like that friend you keep around because you're like, oh Jesus, like you'll
You're
when it
a
gets
very
too dark.
special guy, but we love you.
He was so funny. I loved him. He was such a great addition. Like honestly, yeah. So one big thing that we need to cover, and I'm really keen to get your thoughts on it, is all through the book, there are glimpses of Theon
Ugh.
and Zavander's kind of battle with Theon and the various times that they fight, or he thinks he's killed him, but he hasn't. He shows back up. And then, and this is a big spoiler, so again, if you've got this far and you haven't read it, what are you doing here? But anyway,
Why are you still here?
he is not real. He's a figment of Zavander's imagination and of his trauma. And we find out at the end that actually he died pretty horrifically way back when Zavander was first
Still a
released.
slave. Yeah.
Um,
That actually kind of broke my heart.
it broke my heart and I didn't like it.
Mm.
I didn't like it. I felt like there was too much invested in that. And albeit it was a big shock and it was like the big, like, oh, Zavander is very, like, he's not well.
Yeah, he's very sick, yeah.
Well. I don't know if I absolutely loved it. I felt a little bit gypped and upset by that.
I kind of thought that it would be that perhaps Theron wasn't real in the now, but not that he was dead and that Zavander blamed himself for it. And it was misplaced blame. Like, Theron gave himself up to save Zavander after Zavander had saved him over and over and over, and he'd kept, like, fucking him over the years. So it was really misplaced self-blame. But I kind of thought that maybe he wasn't real in the now because Zavander's really sick and he's like imagining this guy that was such a big fixture in his past coming back to like get him. But And that, you know, when they kept getting little glimpses of the stone coffin. Oh yeah, so the glimpse, like the little tiny flashbacks, his glimpses of like a stone coffin and not wanting to remember what was inside. I thought that was going to show some horrific punishment that Theron had back in the day, but he had survived, like, because it would have been more punishment if she'd have like drawn something out. And I thought that's why he was scared of being locked in the vault.
Yeah.
Because he didn't like enclosed spaces. Like, I thought maybe General Loyce had locked him in this stone coffin, starving, with no light, no outside, nothing, just in this tiny confined space for like maybe a decade or something. That's what I thought that was going to be. I thought it was going to be a long drawn out punishment that he'd suffered, not that he was going to be dead inside there. Like,
yeah,
I didn't like it. It broke my heart for Zavander because it actually shows that he's even sicker than we thought. And like, we thought he was sick anyway.
Yeah.
He is not mentally well.
No.
Like, beyond.
But then has drinking Mavis blood
Maybe fix things.
You know, has that actually, was that what he needed the whole time? And is that why we needed to get to that point to have all of that, to be able to be like, no, he needs to do this. Like, actually, she's his savior here. She could actually like bring him back from the madness that he's clearly got. But I think that my problem with that is it then puts everything else into question. You then start to be like, well, what else wasn't real? Like, what else
was real? What wasn't real? Yeah.
Yeah. And like,
from his POV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because towards the end it does get quite murky in terms of his reality, and so you then question a lot of things. So it's going to be interesting how that kind of resolves itself or plays itself out in the next book, where he's stuck in the mortal lands, and she's in. I'm not even going to try and pronounce the name of the Alethea.
Arithea. Anyway, that
John, what are your hopes and dreams for the next book? What are you hoping we get out of the next book?
I am hoping General Loyce dies a fiery fucking death, because that bitch gotta go. She gotta go. I don't know if I want Zavander to be the one to kill her or if I want Mavis to be the one to kill her, but either way, she gotta go. I don't care who kills her. I'll kill her. It'll be fine. Just die. Yeah, so that's my biggest hope and dream for the next book. I want Mavis to really discover and come into all of her powers. I obviously want Zavander to find her, or find his way back to her. I want to know what is happening with the prince thing, because I don't know what's going on there. I want to see the characters that kind of took a sidestep into their own quest off page. I want to see them come back in. Oh my God. Rezevio, whatever his name is, the basilisk. Oh my God. I want him to not be dead. Sorry, spoiler.
No.
Massive spoiler. That was horrible. I was like, oh, because he's not coming back from that.
Well, no, he's a stone.
He's a bloodstone. And no coming back from that one.
No, I don't think it's coming.
I kind of want to see Morgana and Deimos inhabit Maeve and Zavander and be like, just for like a moment, to like, I don't know, maybe lead the charge and take down all the bad guys. That's what I do and I don't. I do and I don't. I want to see them like kick ass, but I also just want it to be Mavis and Zavander themselves. That kick ass. Yeah, I do and I don't.
So there was a lot of talk through the book from Zavander, which is like, in this life or the next, in any realm, in any world, in any da-da-da-da-da. And so my premonition is that in order to save, like, the world from the bad guys, they're gonna die and allow the two gods
to take over.
I think that's how this is gonna end.
It's possible.
I think they're gonna, like, hold hands, agree with them that they can inhabit
Take their vessels, yeah.
and save XYZ, and then they'll die. Because I don't think that they live happily ever after, like,
yeah,
given everything that's kind of happened to them. So, yeah. But yeah, I'm like you. I just want I want his sister, aunt, the mange, Dolion,
something like that.
I want them back. I liked them. So yeah, that's my wish. But yeah, it has been a blinder of a book. So as if we're not sure what the scores are going to be, but Shani, what is your score?
It's a solid 5 for me.
It's a 6.
I'm assuming. Oh, you're going God tier, even with your niggles. I wasn't sure if you'd go God tier with your niggles or not.
No, God tier. Like, I think the thing about the niggles is all of it makes you think. Like,
yeah,
some of the books, they're a good time. They're fun and lighthearted, and like, you know, there's some bad stuff that happens and people have got their problems, and you're kind of like, yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah.
You enjoy reading it. This one, there was lots of moments where I really had to stop and think about, you know, trauma bonding, about what does love actually, what is it supposed to look like? Is it supposed to be like sweetness, light, flowers, skipping? Or actually is this love? Is this more real and dirty?
More real, more raw.
Yeah, and actually is love ugly in its truest form, because it's two people who, despite all their problems and flaws, still choose to want to be together. So that got me thinking. And then the concept of family and like redemption, forgiveness, all of that stuff. Like, you know, there's a lot in this that gets you, like, makes your brain like do a little tickle, and you're like, oh, that's interesting. Found family, his friends, what they went to, the lengths they went to go and find their friend.
To go and find them, yeah. And to get him back, and then one of them dies. Like, what the fuck?
And I love because I was like, no one can touch him because he's like the poison. And so it was like, oh, he's never had a hug.
He's never had a hug. And
no, he never will.
He wasn't even touched to be killed. Like, what the fuck is that shit? What is that shit?
I know.
He did not deserve it. Oh, I wonder if he'll come back as a ghost to talk to Maeve, though.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
He has his bloodstone, so he has his like essence, or whatever you want to call it. God, I've read too much of this bloody romanticy shit now, Sean. As people say, think essence and seeds, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, the seed. You will give me your seed. Yeah, just General Lois. Honestly, I cannot express my hate for this woman as like more. I cannot.
I've never hated a
character. The revulsion.
Oh, same. Yeah. It is 6 tier. It's 6-star God tier book, as was Anathema. I don't know how Kerry Lake did it. I definitely went into it very nervous, because a Terminator 2 is very rare. A second book as good as, if not better than the first book, very, very, very rare. Albeit Sarah J. Maas definitely did it with Akhtar, and I will never get over the whole what's his name versus, I've forgotten the name.
Hamlin versus Rhysand.
Yeah. And then I realized I liked the bad guy. That the bad guy was the good guy. Oh.
I was gutted, because I call it being Akatard now, when like she doesn't end up with the first person. I call it being Akatard. Because that was my first experience of it.
Well, on that bombshell of 5-star and 6-star God tier reviews. Shani, any chance you've got our next buddy read?
I did have a look. So I think we're going to go with A Vow of Shadows by Elle Backenstow. It's not got a lot of reviews. I think it's like quite new. I think she's quite a new indie author as well. So it doesn't have a lot of reviews, but the reviews are good. Marked by death, saved by a vow. For years, Katrin has lived with the shadow of death upon her skin, but the dark markings have affected more than her appearance. Ostracized by the high society she was born into, she's forced to watch the world carry on without her. As her untimely end draws near, Katrin seeks out the one creature who might save her, death's own servant, the Farrier of Souls. Basically, I believe she spends a year with the Farrier he agrees to keep her safe long enough that she can find a cure for whatever ails her or her dark fate.
Cool.
So I think it's kind of a bit like Anathema, where it's a little bit like oldie worldy.
Yeah.
But not the real world, because it talks about a dowry and like that kind of thing. So I think it's
cool.
a little bit like Anathema in that way. And yeah, as I say, it doesn't have a lot of reviews, but the reviews that are out there are good.
It's inspired by Welsh mythology.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. Yeah, that's cool. Thank you. That looks really good. Awesome. Beautiful, wonderful, fabulous. Great. Thank you for joining us again. And we will be back with a review of About Shadows. And yeah, thanks again. Love you lots, Shani Pani.